are righteous, that you are just, that you are merciful, O Most High. And we come here even as descendants of even our ancestors who were slaughtered in this place, asking and begging for righteous judgment upon Babylon.
In 1863, man, we thought that we was free. Fighting the war, we know what it was to hit the street, so we spread the rumors. We told all our families, we gathered the old folks and the children and hit the knees. We were walking and running, cause they said that we'll be free. Just go down in this hole, and if you make it, then you will be up north with the free folks. When you chill in your east folks, I didn't know where it was, but somehow I did say some east folks. Not the one with these heathens. We know where it could have been. We know if we made it about this whole where it should have been. So we took to the streets. You know the rumor spread it real fast. We told all the Hebrews, you know what made them happy. From mama to grandmama, everybody in this hole, at least the amount that we can get to go, and that's 20,000. Man, this shit out of control. It's been 6 months. How the hell we getting this devil's punch? Oh.
At night, O Most High, and hold themselves not guilty. They hold themselves innocent, even as they shed the blood of our sons, of our daughters, of our elders, Father, of the young and of the old, of the weak and of the strong, O Most High. They have shown no pity. They have shown no mercy.
The slaves were released from the plantations during the occupation. They overran Natchez, and the population went from about...
Democracy said we free, but Natchez didn't feel the same. They slaughtered and murdered us. We wish we were still enslaved. They rather be picking cotton than rotting their life away. Invested with smallpox, corruption would never stop. While working around the clock, they buried you where you drop. You planted us like we crops and hope that we never sprout. But Yah has a final plan, deliver us from this land. He never intended for us to be destroyed by the hands of man. Kidnapped our soul, the devil punch bowl, still in existence under FEMA's control. Rex 84, the king got for playing. These crackers are plotting, I hope y'all Hebrews are praying. Begging for mercy, screaming for grace, preparing your soul for what you destined to face. 13 elites, the mark of the beast. I'm spiritually grounded, giving our praises to thee, Most High.
Even the blood of the saints who were slaughtered, even by the whore of Babylon, as she becomes drunk off of the blood of our people. Oh, Yehovah, have mercy on us. Even gather the remnant of Judah and of Israel together in spirit and in truth. Remove even the divisions, oh Most High God, that keep us from coming together. And let us come together in love and forgiveness and unity, Most High, and in faithfulness and in obedience, in submission, in spirit and in truth. We just pray on behalf of our people, Yisrael, O Most High, that you would cause us to stand in these last days. Give us strength, O Yehovah. Pour the Ruach HaKodesh upon us, O Yah. Pour out the latter rain, O Most High. Show mercy unto us. Deliver us, O Yehovah. Open the gates of heaven unto our prayer. Yehoshua, receive our prayer. Oh yeah, receive our prayer. Heavenly Father, let our prayer be as of sweet incense before the altar of thy throne, oh yeah. Remember us. Remember the covenant that you made with our forefathers. We repent. Forgive us, oh Yah. We have transgressed. We have dealt iniquitously. Our men and our women and our sons and our daughters, we are all guilty. But we repent with the whole heart. Forgive us, Yehovah. Deliver us, Yehovah. Pardon our transgressions, Salak Banu. Forgive us, oh Yah. Deliver us from this bondage, oh Yah. From this evil, from this pain, from this oppression, from all this terror, day and night, oh Yehovah. Hear us, oh Yah. Deliver us, oh Heavenly Father. Yehoshua, forgive us, for we have slaughtered you and we turned you over to the enemy. And we hope that we serve you in spirit and in truth, and that our sacrifices and our bondage and our oppression is compensation for yours. Oh yeah, we know that you have waited for us longer than we have waited for you. So have mercy on us, oh Most High God. Cause the house of Judah to stand. Cause the house of Israel to stand, O Most High God. And as we stand, bring down the adversary. For Jacob means the supplanter, O Yehoshua. So to supplant and grab the heel of Esau, we must be on the ground, and we are on the ground. Now, help us stand up, and as we stand up, let us take the heel of this oppressor and slam him into the ground, Most High God, and let him go into the pit. Let him go into the devil's punch bowl. Let him go there, Most High God. Bring righteous judgment, O Yehoshua. And Jacob. In Yehoshua's name, we come before you, O Yehovah, even in these last days, as the children of Israel, Most High, giving testimony that you are righteous, that you are just, that you are merciful, O Most High. And we come here even as the descendants of even our ancestors who were slaughtered in this place, asking and begging for righteous judgment upon Babylon.
In 1863, man, we thought that we was free. Fighting the war, we know what it was to hit the street, so we spread the rumors. We told all our families, we gathered the old folks and the children and hit them leaves. We were walking and running, cause they said that we'll be free. Just go down in this hole, and if you make it, then you will be up north with the free folks. When you chill and you eat, folks. I didn't know where it was, but somehow I did say some east. But after war with these heathens, we know where it could have been. We know if we made it about this hole where it should have been. So we took to the streets. You know the rumor spread it real fast. We told all the Hebrews, you know what made them happy. From mama to grandmama, everybody in this hole, at least the amount that we can get to go, and that's 20,000. Man, this shit out of control. It's been 6 months. How the hell we get this devil's punch? Oh.
At night, O Most High, and hold themselves not guilty. They hold themselves innocent, even as they shed the blood of our sons, of our daughters, of our elders, Father, of the young and of the old, of the weak and of the strong, O Most High. They have shown no pity. They have shown no mercy.
The slaves were released from the plantations and the occupation. They overran matches, and the population went from about
Democracy set you free, but not just to feel the same.
We just pray on behalf of our people, Yisrael, O Most High, that you have caused us to stand in these last days. Give us strength, O Yehovah. Pour the rock of death upon us, O Yah. Pour out the latter rain, O Most High. Show mercy unto us. Deliver us, O Yehovah. Open the gates of heaven unto our prayer. Yehovah, receive our prayer. O God, receive our prayer.
Motions boiling over outside the court. Tonight, emotions boiling over outside the courthouse. Protesters in each other's faces, some openly weeping. And for others, relief. Justice was served.
You think this is justice for Austin?
I believe so.
As a Texas jury finds 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder for stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet last year. Numerous witnesses said Anthony instigated the confrontation, the prosecution calling his actions unjustified and intentional, telling the jury, you don't get to meet a shove with a stab, especially if you provoke the shove. In closing arguments Tuesday, the defense again tried to portray Metcalf as the aggressor, that he made physical contact first, and Anthony defended himself in a split second of chaos. What was it like?
What was it like?
When the verdict was read.
I feel like it was designed to protect white people, the system, and it was not designed to protect black people. It's self-defense.
Supporters of Anthony have raised concerns for a fair trial after no black people were seated on the jury. Inside the courtroom, tears from both families. Anthony's mother described as weeping, later asking the court to please have mercy on my son.
And Ryan Chandler joins us tonight live outside the courthouse. Ryan, do we know anything about the sentencing?
Well, Tom, we can tell you that Anthony was in tears as the jury left to decide his fate. He faces up to 99 years in prison, though his defense is asking the jury to consider a sudden passion provision that could limit that window to just 2 to 20 years. For the prosecution's part, they are asking for a lengthy prison sentence, telling the jury nothing you do will take more from Karmelo Anthony and his family than he took from the Metcalfs. Tonight, emotions boiling over outside the courthouse. Protesters.
I'm going to play this other video, and we're going to get into this today. Check this out, family. Where's that? There was a sister talking about it. Here we go.
A lot of people have been commenting and DMing me this picture, which compares the verdict and sentence for Karmelo Anthony versus the verdict and sentencing for another man whose name is Kason Allison. And I'm not a lawyer, but I decided to do a little digging to see what the actual similarities and what the actual differences are between these two cases. So let me tell y'all what I found. So first, let me fill you in on Kason's actual case. So back on May 3rd, 2022, Kason Allison, who was 18 at the time, was a senior at Belton High School in Texas. It was a Tuesday morning, and around 9:47 a.m., him and another friend of his walk into the boys' bathroom at the school, and by the time Kason left, he had stabbed his 17-year-old classmate, Joe Ramirez. Now, context as to what led up to the stabbing is that prom was 4 days earlier. And while the two of them were at a prom after party, they got into it because Joe felt like Kason was being aggressive toward the prom date of one of Joe's friends. So they had this verbal altercation, and Kason claims that Joe pulled a gun on him during this altercation. But it's worth noting that a friend testified at the trial that it wasn't Joe, it was someone else.
A friend of Allison shared today that he saw someone pull a gun on Allison at the prom after party, but it was not Ramirez.
So the two of them have this argument, and afterward, a Snapchat group message is created where Kason suggests that the two of them should fight at a park. Joe apparently says he's not really down for the park, so the two of them plan to fight at the school, but they never lock down a time and a place. Now, before the day of the fight, multiple of Joe's friends testified that he told them he planned to seriously injure Joe.
Another close friend of Allison returned to the stand today discussing text messages between the two of them. And those texts contained things like Allison saying, "Bro, bring me a gun." Quote, he wanted Joe on life support and wanted to stomp his head in.
And then when detectives pulled Kason's Snapchat messages, they heard a voice recording of him telling someone, quote, "We finna catch them tomorrow. And I'm going to send him to the hospital." So that all happens in between prom and Tuesday, May 3rd. And then on Tuesday, the school day starts. And after first period, Joe and 4 of his friends go to the boys' bathroom because that is apparently something they did every day. But this time, shortly after they go to the bathroom, the school cameras catch Kason and a friend of his also walking into that same bathroom. Now, according to the testimony from the trial, this meetup was not planned and Joe was actually in the bathroom. Multiple witnesses who were also in the bathroom at that time testified that Kason did not want to fight at school. He emphasized they were close to graduation and he did not want to risk that, but Joe apparently wanted to fight. In a recorded interview with detectives, Kason says that once the boys started taking off their backpack, he took out a knife that he had brought to school with him and said, quote, "Don't touch me or I'll stab you." At this point, a student that was also in the bathroom takes out his phone and begins recording the altercation. And on that video, he captures Joe swing on Kason lunge and stab Joe. Then there's...
It was recorded?
That's what they do nowadays. They will record your demise right on video so that they could... I mean, it's all, got popular with World Star.
Yeah.
You already know that's the culture of teenagers now, and pretty much the culture in America. Period. That they want to televise whatever type of madness they got going on.
So on the one hand, with Karmelo Anthony, he has a fight that's not premeditated, is not planned, and the aggressor comes to him. He gets into a fight with the white student, and he attacks him with the knife. He defends himself with the knife. and he gets 35 years. This white guy in Texas, the same state, not too long ago, he does a premeditated execution of his fellow classmate that's younger than him because he's jealous over a girl at the prom or something like that, they said.
Yeah, so he was coming on or flirting with a girl that his friend was at the prom with. So not even his girl. And the thing about it is the facts of the case are very, very similar. The difference is who the victim is and who the assailant is. And when you look at the facts of the Karmelo Anthony case, let me just state this from the beginning. It's not good. It's not a good thing that Austin Metcalf is dead. You know, that he was killed, because this, in my opinion, is not murder, and it's obviously it's the prosecution's job to argue that it's murder. So they say they could have been just as effective as arguing it as what it actually is. It's called manslaughter.
Right. Right.
Manslaughter. It's still that you killed someone. You're still responsible for it. But the difference is, in order to say that that's murder, you'd have to believe. You'd have to make a leap that Karmelo Anthony, in the case, wanted to kill him. Took actions to do so, when the actions he took kind of suggests that he wasn't trying to kill him, that this was a stick and then run off, not something, I want to kill you, because the difference would be, multiple stabs, this, that, and the other.
Right.
I mean, what are the chances, for someone who is not a trained killer to stab someone one time and it happened to be directly in their heart and then the person bleeds out?
Right.
We can always address, we got to address, the situation, the atmosphere, and how these things led up to that. First off, a lot of people commenting on the case last year. Initially, they were talking about Karmelo Anthony being in, a tent that he's not supposed to be in during a track meet. What it tells me,
how many?
I ran track. I ran track. What people don't understand is the atmosphere of a track meet is that usually it's in a stadium, right? Or you got bleachers, the outdoor bleachers, especially the outdoor season. And this was the outdoor season. It gets really hot at track meets, and track meets are all day. There's so many meets that so many events that are going on.
Rival schools that come together, right?
Yeah, so especially big meets.
Right.
This I think was some sort of invitational. So an invitational is schools from all over the city or all over the state, or in this case, the surrounding counties. Right. So you're going to do it usually where usually there's a track, a whole track field that's separate. Texas is crazy about their sports. Like their football is separate. Yeah. Their track is separate. They invest a lot of money in their stadiums and everything. And so their complexes for track, they're usually top notch. And from the videos and pictures that I saw of this was one of those. I don't remember the location, but it's a nice spot. So when you go to a track meet, people they stake out areas in the bleachers and all surrounding the track, right? And there's different areas that they'll stake out, and because it's generally really hot, they're gonna have tents, right? Now the tents are you can set them up anywhere. They're 4 posters, and you'll put it at certain places where it'll have your school banner and things like that on it. And it's basically to protect you from the sun, chill out when you're not racing, because when you come to a track meet, you got to be there like 8 o'clock in the morning. You may not be running until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but you got to be there 8 o'clock in the morning. You got to check in. You got to stay hydrated, etc. So now this particular day, there were flash storms, right? So when that happens, you could be somewhere else away from where your tent is. And if it starts raining, you're gonna just jump under a tent. A
Right,
lot of
because
the
if you got a
schools,
massive field, you got a huge field, track field, and it starts raining all of a sudden, you're going to look for the closest shelter that you could find, right? And it's not a crime, you know what I'm saying, to go
yeah,
under a shelter that might say another school on it, right? Especially,
yeah, it's not only is it not a crime, it's really common. It's normal. It's not something where people are banging on on tent sites and schools are track and field is not like it's not the type of competition the way a basketball game or a football game is where you have the opposing team's bench here. Obviously, they don't go sit in their bench. It's not like that. A lot of people who have commented on it, they're like, oh, that's the opposing team or that was another team. It's not like that in track.
right,
Most everybody, when you're running track, they intermingle and they're friends. It don't matter. They're not running against you. 9 times out of 10, they're not running against you anyway,
right. Give me
or
one.
against your school. Mhm.
Sister Ronica Roni Shalom, sis. She said, I live in Texas, but that area where the track meet was is a racist area. I will never live there. Man, what's the name
Yeah.
of this town? You know the name of it? Put the name of the town and tell me
Um,
the name of the town.
let's see the name of that time. It was in it was at Centennial Hall. I'm sorry, Centennial High School,
Okay.
and that is I don't know what town that was. I remember seeing it, but I'm sure somebody will post it.
And it's being said that his girlfriend's cousin invited him to sit under the tent. You see,
Yeah,
yeah,
more than likely. Okay,
yeah.
Collin County. That's what it was. It's Collin County in Texas.
And Frisco,
Yeah.
Texas. Okay. So that's kind of the backstory of how these things are when you got teams coming together to play track. So now Karmelo Anthony goes under the tent and explain what happens from there.
So
Before you
whether
do, let me play a little more of this video and then I'll get some more.
yeah, absolutely.
The scream and the video cuts. Now, following this incident,
And now this white guy, this white boy, who's 17, 18, he murders his own friend on camera, on video. Cold-blooded, premeditated. He gets, I think, less than 10 years. Same type of crime, except this is premeditated. He gets less than 10 years. Karmelo Anthony for manslaughter, it's really manslaughter, he gets 35 years.
Yeah.
And then all white jury. And then the judge shows favor to the family of the victim without considering that Karmelo Anthony doesn't have a criminal record, was a good student, and did things in a pretty decent way.
Yeah, so the judge is friends of the Metcalf family. That, but even with that, a lot of people. So, in my opinion, what exacerbates the problem is that you got a large contingent of black people who quote unquote played a race card in a situation where you probably should not have been pushing the whole race thing in the manner in which that they did. Now, obviously, it's a white kid.
It's gonna be race. It's
gonna be. It's gonna be.
Texas. You're talking about a racist town. So I mean, that's unavoidable. They're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, but we gotta get more intelligent about the way we deal with it. So the way that we do it, the way that at least the loudest voices do it, they do it in such a I guess an immature way, right? So obviously, the kid that got stabbed to death is white. Obviously, Karmelo is black. But when you're pushing the race card and then you have overtones of he deserves to be dead because he's white and because of racism and because of slavery and because of all of that, when those are the connotations that you're putting on it.
I haven't heard that. You're saying there's certain black people saying he deserves to be dead.
Oh yeah, there were plenty of black people that were going online saying he deserved to be dead because he started the situation. And I'm like, he deserved. Listen, he caused the situation because he started it. But if you want to do Carmelo, if they wanted to do Carmelo Anthony any favors, understanding where they're at, understanding who you're up against, having people coming online. I know you can't stop it, but having people coming online and spouting that does Carmelo Anthony no favors. It
Yeah,
does him no
because
favors at all.
said that. That's crazy. But I hadn't heard that. I'm what I'm hearing. The sources that I've been listening to, they're talking about the injustices of we got all this caseload of white people who kill black people,
Mhm.
and when the shoe is on the other foot, black people are convicted at a much higher rate for the same crimes.
Yeah,
They're
the law
getting
works.
long
The
prison
law works.
sentences.
The system works when it's black people.
Right.
And I'm not saying it shouldn't work.
No forgiveness. Like
None.
when in the chat, I want y'all to tell me, when have you heard a black murder trial and manslaughter in the same sentence? When do they ever charge a black man with manslaughter? I can't even
You ain't gonna
remember
get it.
the last time I heard manslaughter and black man in the same sentence in the court trial when white people are involved. I don't think I've ever heard that.
You're not gonna get it.
Yeah. So it's like this is what we're here to talk about, like the injustice. But if there's black people saying that the white guy deserved to die for a fight, I mean, we're not co-signing that. But what
Yeah,
we're here
nah.
to say is the injustice that is let me see. Yeah, never, right? They go straight to first degree murder. You never hear manslaughter. I don't think I've ever heard it. All my days, brother, I never remember hearing manslaughter in a case with a black person.
It's never small numbers. They as soon as they get the case rolling, they put the book in the cannon. They aim it at the nigga. They
Yeah,
set
man.
that joint and boom, there you go. You getting the whole foot up your rear. That's what
Right.
you're getting.
Right.
And there's no difference here. And I think people need to speak about each point intelligently. Yes, we know racism. We know that, right? But after you get past that, you got to speak about the points of the case, right? The
Right.
points, the facts of the case. The facts of the case is that these young men came to him, right? And
Right.
a lot of people, like we were alluding to, don't understand the whole atmosphere of a track meet. So they were getting that wrong off the bat. Again,
Right.
when you go to a football game, you got the football teams. It's only two teams opposing each other. At a
Mhm.
track meet, you could have 30, 40 different schools there, right? And
Right.
each one of them have people that run different events or are competing in different events. So it's not really it's the individuals against each other in the track meet or in the high jump or the long jump or the shot put. It's all sorts of things going on. It's not the same as it's not the rivalry and that you get at a
And
football game
football.
or a basketball
Right.
game.
It's
So
not that kind of atmosphere. So for them to paint it like Carmelo had this you know what I'm saying, this hatred or this contempt against their school because he was on their grounds in a track meet, it don't work like that. Not even in professional track. In track and field do you even see
nope.
the track athletes going at it like that with each other, like you might see with the Knicks and the Spurs right now, and
Yeah,
how
it's Knicks and the Spurs. That's different. It's one
right,
team versus another team in track.
right,
So, for example, Brooklyn, Transit Tech. We ran against our rivals, if you will, were like Boys and Girls or what's another one?
Brooklyn Tech, Westinghouse.
Brooklyn Tech. Yeah,
Right.
what's Canarsie would be like guys that we were running against, but when we weren't on the track, we were hanging around each other. It wasn't like, that's them over there. We mean mugging. It's not like that. That's not the atmosphere of a track meet. So a lot of people
Right.
that were
Right.
yeah,
Let me read this real quick. Brother Ori says, never seen a white suspect on trial and not have a single white juror either. I mean, that's
never.
100% facts. That like has never happened. Let's get a scripture on
Waiting
that
on
real quick. Let me pause
Kason.
that. I want to get a scripture on that. Let's go to the book of Zechariah. And family, we got a surprise for y'all real quick, man. This is a sneak peek for the new launch of the Hebrew Israelite Scriptures app. It's about to go down, family. I just want to give y'all a sneak peek that we got the app perfected. All praises to the Most High. We got an app for our people that they can have the word as it's written, with the names restored, errors restored from the KJV, and all of that is been fixed. It's been updated. All the names are correct using proper language in Hebrew. Get ready, family. We're giving you a sneak preview tonight. This is the His Word, the Hebrew Israelite Scriptures Bible app. I'm going to hit enter. We're going to go, man, this setup, I love this setup. We got the verse of the day at the top. Get ready, y'all. Pass the word. We're gonna go to the book of where is that? Zechariah 11. Zechariah 11. All right. Zechariah 11 and 4. Let me make this text a little bit bigger. Give me 1 second. Man. I'm gonna go here. We're gonna make this font large. And let's see. All right, we're going to go back to Zechariah 11. Okay, that's better. Zechariah 11 and 4. Thus saith Jehovah my Elohim, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And that's America's MO. From the very beginning, from slavery and all the way down through 400 years and everything, whenever they did anything against us, they always, when are they ever convicted?
Hardly.
Hardly
And if
ever.
they are convicted, they get like sentences like Amber Geiger when she
Right.
killed what's his name, the black guy that she walked into. She apparently supposedly walked into the wrong apartment, thought it was hers, and
Oh,
walks
yeah,
into
yeah,
this guy's
yeah.
apartment and kills him. Um,
Right. Yeah.
and gets a 10-year sentence, and
Right.
then tries to appeal that. She was all crying and everything in the court about how she was sorry and it was an accident. And it's like, okay, if you're sorry and it was an accident, right? Um, it makes no sense that then right after that you're appealing so that you get no time. You're trying to get
Right.
no time,
And
and
she's a
then when
police,
she's
she's a
crying,
police officer, right?
yeah, she's a police
So she's
officer.
supposed to be trained and supposed to have skill with a gun. So how are you going to go inside somebody's house, shoot them, and say you don't know what you're doing, and you're a trained officer, and you take an oath that you're going to protect the public and all of that? But they hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, "Blessed be Jehovah, for I am rich," and their own shepherds pity them not. So then, what they do is they monetize the oppression that they do against us. Do you know this guy named Chud the Builder? You know who this guy is?
Oh yeah, yeah, I know who he is.
You know who he is? Oh,
Yep,
my
the dude
bad.
walking around, walking up to black people, shouting racial slurs at them, and then saying that they're chimping out, and then trying to bait them into a circumstance where he can shoot them
Right,
and murder them
right.
and claim
So
self-defense.
he does that, and guess what? They start GoFundmes, and then they raise sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars for white murderers of black people, and then they become famous. Or if they do something racist against a black person on the job and they get fired on the job, then they will sometimes have a GoFundMe started, and they will raise up to sometimes $1 million or more to reward these white people for their racism. I'm trying to get the right screen, family. Where is it at? There we go. Okay, yeah. So they will reward them and set up GoFundMe's, Kickstarter, and then these people will become rich. So that's what it means. Their possessors slay them, say they're not guilty, and then say, "Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich," and their own shepherds pity them not. How many times do they also write books? What's his Carl Rittenhouse, right? He went out there because of George Floyd, and he claimed, and this was somebody who owned a gun illegally. He takes his AR-15 and he goes and he starts shooting people, right? Because he was so-called defending property for a state he didn't live in, and carrying a gun that he did not have a license for. He kills 2 people, gets off, and then they gave him GoFundMe. Then these guys write books. What's the guy who killed Trayvon Martin?
That was Zimmerman.
Zimmerman.
George Zimmerman.
How do these guys become rich and famous after they kill somebody black and then they get exonerated?
Because they reward each other. They with the GoFundMe's and everything. He does. He was doing speaking engagements, appearance fees, and everything.
Yeah.
They were taking pictures with Skittles and Snapple or whatever it was. I think it was the IT or whatever. They were mocking Trayvon Martin. In Trayvon Martin case, I mean, let's not to just go over it. I mean, I got it etched in my mind, the facts of the case.
Yeah,
Trayvon Martin was visiting his father who lived in that community, in that development. He goes to the store to buy something. On his way back, he's being followed by Zimmerman. Zimmerman, if y'all recall, he was saying that he was a self-appointed neighborhood watch, right? Just basically one of those weirdos that walk around.
They love to deputize themselves, to act on behalf of the police department, to deputize their own selves to apprehend or harass or oppress us. But they never do that for each other, though.
No, they don't. So he gets to following him, and Trayvon Martin happened to be on the phone with one of his friends, a female friend of his, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking this guy is following me." So he goes and changes directions to make sure, and it turns out he was following. During that time, also, Zimmerman calls the police saying he sees someone suspicious, so he can set the stage in case something happens. That if something happens, he called the police. He's doing whatever. He's doing. He's right. He's doing his job as a law-abiding citizen. Now, when he calls the police, the dispatch asks him certain questions. They tell him, "Hey, listen, okay, we'll send a car out. Do not approach the guy." Because they're taking his word, okay, somebody suspicious. He still goes and approaches Trayvon Martin, who at the time is 16 years old. He's a minor.
He's a minor.
Right? He's 16 years old. And you go and follow him. Now, what took place there, what we're supposed to believe is George Zimmerman's word. That he approached him and asked him questions, and then Trayvon Martin just started swinging on him and beat him up. Which makes absolutely no sense at all. No sense at all, right? So he says that he attacked him and that he started losing consciousness, and so that's why he shot Trayvon Martin. So Trayvon Martin is now dead. He has no way of defending himself. There's no video. There's no anything. So what they did was they said, "We're going to take the word of a guy who stalked a teenager. Right? Who had committed no crime. There's no proof of him committing any crime. And then someone, who had already been told, and then murders them.
Let me get this scripture real quick. We're going to go to, this is the book of Ezekiel 35. "Moreover, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir." Who in the chat knows what Mount Seir represents? Right? Habakkuk 1. That's a good scripture. Judah Banger. Habakkuk 1:4. Therefore the law is slack, and judgment does never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, and therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. That's like 100% right there. That is definitely what happens. Mount Seir is Edom, right? But Seir is also how you say Baphomet in Hebrew. Baphomet. So the goat devil. All right. So Mount Seir was the habitation of Baphomet in the days of old. What we're going to do is we're going to look up this word here in the Hebrew. All right. We're going to go to the book of we're going to go to Genesis. We're going to go to Genesis 36. I know they talk about Mount Seir. Okay, Seir. We're going to look up Seir in Hebrew and show the people. Mount Seir, Hebrew word H8165. Outline of biblical usage meaning hairy or shaggy. But when we look at the root of this word, H8163, the outline of biblical usage also says hairy. Can y'all see that? Do I need to make that bigger? Let me make that bigger for the family. All right. The outline of biblical usage means hairy, a he-goat or buck, a sacrificial animal, or be a satire. Let me screenshot this and bring it here because I want people to be able to see what is being said when we say Mount Seir. When scripture says Mount Seir, we need to get a modern picture in our head for these ancient phrases and terminology. All right. So here we got, okay, Mount Seir, B, it represents a satire. Satire is a demon. It may refer to a demon-possessed goat like the swine of Gadara. So when we say a demon-possessed goat, we're talking about Baphomet. Right? And so now America have Baphomet on some of the steps of their courts here. We're going to go to the Baphomet courthouse. This is in Arkansas. They got the goat. Oh, man, it froze, family. I've been writing all this on the screen. It froze. Give me a second. Yeah, you could explain some more of that Trayvon while I pull this back up. You want?
Absolutely. So with Trayvon, what they pulled in court was, we're just going to take the killer, the adult killer who has the gun. We're going to take his word and just disregard the obvious. And it's very similar to the case with Rick Chow, who shot the young kid leaving the store. And I'm sure we'll touch on that. But what they did was they took the case of Trayvon Martin and instructed the jury to jump over all of the circumstances that brought Zimmerman to be in contact with him, and said you can only consider from the point of Zimmerman supposedly getting beat up to be unconscious. From that point on, and does he have a right to defend himself from, serious bodily harm and or death? And this is the only period that you can consider. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about that trial, is that that's what the jury was instructed to only consider that. Right. And they just they play around with the law, they play around with the obvious stuff, and and they're just unjust. But yeah,
see, in their courts, like we're talking about. So we're going to look at this is the Hebrew word for Mount Seir, okay? And when we look up Mount Seir, I highlighted it here before it froze. Mount Seir also represents, so we have the word here, Seir, and that's how we spell it in Hebrew. It means shaggy he-goat, by analogy of fawn, a devil goat. A devil goat, a hairy kid, a rough satire. A satire is like when you see the depictions of a mythical creature that has half of a human body and then the bottom half is like a goat body and they got goat hooves and they might have a
Yeah.
tail. So when we say when scripture said the Most High says Mount Seir and Esau, this is what it's talking about. So now when we look at the courthouses of this land, this is in Oklahoma. They put an effigy for Baphomet right at the court. So that's to let us know that these courts are not ruled by the Most High, by righteousness, but by devilry, witchcraft, sorcery, unrighteous judgment. This here is in Arkansas, right in front of the courthouse, right in front of the political buildings. And they removed the 10 Commandments in order to put this up. Satanists erect statue outside of Arkansas.
Yeah, the other funny thing about that image that they used, they created an effigy of Caesar Borgia in that same position with children looking up at him, and then mocked that with the Baphomet statue. So you can look up. They have these in Catholic churches or around or outside of Catholic churches all over the world. The exact same pose. You have the effigy of Caesar Borgia with children looking up at him, right, to reenact the scripture that says, "Suffer the little children," right?
Right.
And then first they make the image of Caesar Borgia as Jesus Christ, and then they mock that with this.
Right.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, they always mocking the Most High, and us being his people, they always mocking us. But yeah, that's crazy. So if you look at this, they never depict us anywhere, but they got a young black boy depicted here next to Baphomet. Because Baphomet's whole goal, and he's the god of the synagogue of Satan, the fake Jews or whatever, their whole ideology is transgenderism. So they want to turn our children inside out and switch their genders. So the main form of masculinity in this world is who?
Gonna be the button.
Yeah.
Nothing more masculine.
That's right. So if you want to destroy and attack masculinity, then it's going to start with us. So they show that here, that they're going to start with us and turn us into a female, which they have the female across from them. While for those who don't understand, this Baphomet has its genitalia exposed, and it's depicted as a rod with 2 serpents on the side of it, changing the DNA. So this is what Esau worshiped. And so when the Most High is talking about Mount Seir, this is the modern terminology that we're showing the people so that they understand. It's a blasphemy, mockery, reverse worship. Absolutely. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it and say unto it, thus saith Adonai Elohim, or Lord God, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. And this is the reason why. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So when we see some black people just can't understand why we're so hated by this nation, even though we built this nation, We created all of its inventions. The fact that we're on a computer right now, the laptop was created by a black man. The fiber optic cables for the internet was created by a black person. GPS was created by a black woman. The cell phone was created by a black man. The mic in the cell phone and the speakers in the cell phone was created by a black man. We can go on and on and on. The light filaments created by black people. Air conditioner and central air and heating created by a black woman. All these things that we have created that gave America a technological advancement before all the other nations is the reason why America has been the superpower for the last, I don't know, what we say, 70 years?
It's been about 87 years now.
87
after
years.
the last World War.
And that's because of our input here. So the price of their hatred is the reason why China is now becoming the superpower to surpass America, because they gave all of the technology jobs to Hindus because they didn't want black people doing them. They gave all of the technology jobs to Asians, and they exported a lot of the hands-on and the the trades. They export all of these things to make sure that black people can't make businesses for themselves to sustain themselves. Because when we learn trades, we were able to open car shops, auto mechanics, we're able to be carpenters, we're able to be electricians, we're able to do all of these things, plumbing, and they took that out of the public school because that's how black people funded the Black Panthers. That's how they funded the civil rights movement. We did all of that by self-financing our own movements and our businesses without government loans, without government support or sponsorship. We did that from the grassroots level. So they took these things away from us to deprive us of having a voice against injustice, because these things were meant to be a voice to speak up against the injustices that would happen, that these people would do against us, right? And then they took that means to finance ourselves away. And then they did redlining and all kinds of other games and tricks. But so then they exported it to China and had China start building everything. Now China has advanced beyond America because of its own hatred that they have for us. And so because of this perpetual hatred, the Most High is judging America right now. So every time Trump, they don't even see this government. Every time they take like our museums away from us, or they try to take Black history away from us, in this administration that's only been in here for a year and a half, every time they've done that, America loses. And now they started a war after messing with Black people again, taking away DEI, any advancements in the military, in the public sector. They took all these things away, and now the Most High is taking away their power overseas because they keep taking away from us. Now their military bases, all of them in the Middle East, are just all but destroyed. And that's a direct relationship to how they have mistreated us. So now Yah's judgment is on these people because they have never repented for these things. What you got to say on that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Every movement that we put together, they infiltrated, and take it over with turncoats who are manipulated into turning against us. You talk about the civil rights movement. It was called the Black Power movement before it was called the Civil Rights Movement. The Jews are the ones who changed the name over to the Civil Rights Movement, and you can see an example of that with the BLM when Darren Seals and it was like four other guys, Darren Seals and three other guys, and the fourth guy was he was an Arab. They're the ones who started BLM, right? And it started out as a rallying cry, right? And they started that organization, but shortly thereafter, all 5 of those people, including the Arab dude, ended up being shot and burned to death, suicide, etc. And then out of nowhere, these 3, Patrice Cullors and the other 2, come along lying, saying that they started BLM after they killed the 4 black people and the Arab dude who actually started it. And once they did that, they changed it over to an organization, and you saw what their charter was to destroy the black family, etc. And they turned BLM into a cash grab for them, and it was the vehicle that they used to pretty much erode all black credibility with regards to our struggle here in this country.
Right.
BLM destroyed it. And that's why you got people screaming black fatigue now. Now that's taking on the same type of, but on the opposite end, power as BLM, where you got whites, Asians, Hispanics that are joining with them, just you name it, and they're all shouting black fatigue because they use that to they use BLM to destroy any more credibility. It used to be said that black people were the conscience of this country. BLM destroyed that.
Right, by infiltrating our groups. And that's why we have to be very protective of our spaces. Shalom, sis. We have to be very protective. Shalom, family. I see people coming in. Let me get these. Their downfall is our uphill. That's right. I'm going to play some more clips as to this story.
There's so much bothering me about this Karmelo Anthony trial. There are videos out like this.
This kid is sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see.
Now, in that video, you hear Hunter clearly say it was him and Austin going at Karmelo. You also hear him say that Austin grabbed Karmelo's bag.
So these are 2 brothers, and these 2 brothers jumped Karmelo for trying to stay under a shelter in the rain during a rainstorm. So they used their privilege to turn against a young teenager just trying to avoid the weather.
No witness testified to that. The defense didn't ask anybody about that. Like, what in the hell is going on? So you mean to tell me that Austin walked up 5 bleacher rows to get to Karmelo? He was yelling at Karmelo. Him, his brother, and his friend were standing over Karmelo, and Karmelo was the aggressor in the situation.
Him, his brother, and their friend. So you got 3 white teenagers coming against Karmelo Anthony at a track meet. So he was being jumped. So
yeah, he was being surrounded and threatened by at least 2 of them are 6 foot and 6'1" and over 200 pounds. And you can look at the kid right there. I mean, anybody that played football, ran track, this, that, and the other, there's a reason, or fought. They have weight classes when it comes to fighting, right? And there's a reason for it, because there's an unnatural, there's a natural, not unnatural, there's a natural advantage that you have when you are a larger, heavier fighter, just leverage and everything. And it can be overcome, but they want equals to go against each other. A guy like Karmelo Anthony is 5'8" or 5'9", about 100 and between 140 and 150 pounds, which is, I mean,
he's 5'8", and these guys are 6'1", and there are 3 of them surrounding him, and they lift weights, and
they play football.
He feels threatened. They're bullying him. He protects himself. That's manslaughter. That is surely not. That's not murder.
Yeah, it's definitely manslaughter. It's manslaughter. On so many levels, it's manslaughter. Mainly because he didn't start the fight. He wasn't in the wrong where he was at. That they keep pushing that narrative that he was in the wrong. He was underneath someone's tent where he wasn't supposed to be. That's not how track meets go. Period. They all intermingle. They go back and forth to different tents, different sides of the field. Go to the the concessions. It's not like opposing teams with football or basketball.
6'1", 240 pounds versus 5'9", 145 pounds. So this white guy weighed a whole 100 pounds more.
Yeah, he's same height as my son.
With murder. Oh my gosh, man! I didn't even know this part of the story.
Yeah, my son, and when is around, well, he's 15 now, but he's 6'1". He's about 210. He looks huge. So if this kid is 240, that means he's got 30 pounds more muscle than my son, and my son is pretty big. So like I go to my son's football games and watch them play against guys that look like grown men. This guy, to give I guess some context, a guy that is 6'1" and 240 pounds would look like He-Man.
Right.
Basically. And you can look at the picture, you can see the size of this kid, and then
5'9", 100.
And he's a twin. He's a twin. So it was two of them there.
Two of them like that, right?
It was at least two of them. So his twin was there. And what did he say to him? He said, "You can either move or we're gonna move you." And you know how kids talk. They talk aggressive, etc.
I'm
him. Although Austin is yelling at him, Austin is walking towards him. Austin grabs his bag, according to his brother, and then grabs him by the shoulder and shove him. But Karmelo is the aggressor in this situation. Like, I don't understand any of it. Like, how the girl testified that she don't know Austin, that she don't know Karmelo. However, she know that it's not about race. You don't know how Austin or Karmelo feel. So how can you say you know for sure this isn't about race? How can you say that you didn't see what actually took place because you were watching the event on the track, but you know that this was not self-defense? Like, y'all, none of this shit is making sense to me. I am sorry, y'all. This trial has aggravated me. I am taking a 1 week break from trials, y'all. Listen, when I have more updates, I'll let y'all know. The family do have ways that y'all can help them. Look into all of those things.
So the error that Karmelo Anthony made, right? That is the other thing, and so I'm going to be fair and balanced. At a track meet, right? You don't have to stand there and fight. You can bounce up out of that situation. There's mad officials all over the place. They always have a police presence there. There's always as big as that meet was, there's always going to be a couple of units there, and they stay there. It's not like they just come, drive by, whatever. They stay there. They're on the premises. There's things you can do to avoid it, right? To get up out of that situation. Fights do happen at track meets, stuff like that. That also is not uncommon. It's just not. It's just not rampant. You know what I mean? But you've heard of it happening. Right. So yeah, he could have got up out of that situation. But the fact is, once they engage in the taunting and then assaulting him, because that's what it is. When you push someone, they're not even using the right language.
In Texas, they have stand your ground. So like when and this is the hypocrisy of it. So if he stands his ground, stand your ground. So they're doing this to set a precedent so that black people feel afraid to defend themselves when they're being attacked.
Oh, absolutely.
By white people.
Absolutely.
So he stood his ground, which he should have. He didn't do anything wrong. So when you being jumped by 3 people, he could have ran, but he decided to stand and fight. And there's nothing wrong with standing your ground and not letting someone bully you. Because if you run today, you might run tomorrow. And then they're going to always be chasing you. So if he stands his ground, like, that would be sufficient evidence if he was white. Because they use stand your ground against black people all the time. And that's the hypocrisy we're talking about. But I understand what you're saying.
I say it's wrong because here's the thing. the way this country is, when you stand your ground in that situation, and again, this is now knowing that the kid is dead. Because in most cases, if you got a knife and you poke and run, people generally don't die. It's very rare that you're gonna hit someone in the heart. So and then they die right on the spot.
I
That
see.
is the
Yeah, right. It would have been better for him to avoid taking somebody's life, and I understand that. So
not that was his intent, because I
that
don't
wasn't his
believe for a
intent,
second that
right?
was his intent
Right.
to kill him. You'd have to
But
be.
he was obviously afraid, and because he was being jumped by three guys that are much bigger than him. They're both 100 pounds. You got two twin brothers, both 100 plus pounds bigger than him, and then the third guy we don't know, but obviously this is there's a term for it when you attack somebody because of their race, and they call it a federal crime, right? They
Yeah,
gave
it's
a
a
hate
hate
crime.
crime.
Yeah, this is obviously a hate crime. So they're doing a hate
So
crime.
I would say this. Without the race part, right? Without that, they were in the wrong when they came to Carmelo Anthony.
Right.
And as far him being black and them being white doesn't automatically make it a hate crime. If they said something, you'd have to have them say something that gives that impression. Now we
This is
know
what
how
this
white
is what
people are.
gives this is what gives the hate crime. The fact that when it's taken to trial by the court, that they have an all-white jury. So if the court and the
Oh, well, that
judge
part,
set up a
that part is a
whole
hate crime.
system where there's not even one single black jury, then yeah, that's a hate crime, and it's a hate crime in the court. So this is clearly racial injustice inside the courtroom by the judge, and if it's like that in government, then that's going to trickle down to the children who go to these schools. So if you got children in these high schools and their parents are racist who run the town, clearly they're going to try to pass that racial hierarchy on to the black students, especially in the town where they may be outnumbered. So for
These
me,
kids are bullies.
racist.
I think they bully whoever. I think they would bully. I think they would bully whoever, regardless of race. The reason why they felt emboldened is because they didn't tell you this. They didn't broadcast this, but there are people who reported on the fact that the Metcalf twins also trained in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, see,
There were a slew of videos. This was maybe 15 years ago of a group of, and this doesn't not related to this, but I'm just for context. There were a slew of videos that was going around before it was popping up on World Star of these white kids that would start fights, doing pretty much what Chud the Builder was doing. This might have been Texas, starting fights with black kids, right? Knowing that they themselves were trained in mixed martial arts, but then they would start an argument with some black kids and then start recording it so they could show themselves choking out a black kid and then say, oh, well, we were fighting because it was a fair fight. But you know that you're a trained fighter. This is totally different. So these kids are bullies, and I have no doubt that they would have bullied whoever, regardless of what race. If he was Asian, black, white, it wouldn't matter. They were bullies, and they were bullying him.
But I get that too. But scripture tells us about these people, they have a perpetual hatred. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Adonai Elohim, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So it's like scripture, the Most High telling these people hate us, whether they want to call it bullying or however they would rephrase it. They don't do this to other people like this. They do it worse to us. They haven't brought other nations into captivity and mistreated them in the same manner that they have done to us. So, like when we see these things, we got to acknowledge what these are, and also we got to be aware of who we call a friend. Like I'm gonna pull this clip up. Sometimes some of the people are Yeah, I gotta play this. Like, man, this is in 2021. An Asian man pew-pewed a 6-year-old black child for trying to retrieve his bike from his yard.
Oh yeah,
Making bond on
terrible.
Tuesday. It has this family angry and confused.
And I'm trying to figure out how he got a bond that was so low for trying to kill my kid.
Arnold Daniel trying to figure out why Ryan Lee Wen is out of jail after allegedly shooting his son Kobe.
He tried hitting me with a sledgehammer, but that's not.
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta play it over again.
Boy, he walks free, making bond on Tuesday. It has this family angry and confused.
And I'm trying to figure out how he got a bond that was so low for trying to kill my kid.
Arnold Daniel trying to figure out why Ryan Lee Wen is out of jail after allegedly shooting his son Kobe.
He tried hitting me with a sledgehammer, but that's not gonna work.
He tried hitting me with a sledgehammer. A grown man tried to hit this little boy. Can y'all see that in the man? Every time I enlarge it, it kind of goes away. The captions there. He says he tried hitting me with a sledgehammer, but the boy
Yeah, I
kept.
remember this.
So then he got a gun and shot the 6-year-old several times. But the Most High spared the young boy's life. This is an Asian.
What did he do?
Got a gun. Boom. Shot me right here.
It's all on video Saturday afternoon.
I'm sorry, family.
Old boy, he walks free, making bond on Tuesday. It has this family angry and confused.
And I'm trying to figure out how he got a bond that was so low for trying to kill my kid.
Arnold Daniel trying to figure out why Ryan Lee Wen is out of jail allegedly shooting his son Kobe.
He tried hitting me with a sledgehammer, but that's not gonna work because I'm too fast.
So then what did he do?
Got a gun. Boom. Shot me right here.
It's all on video Saturday afternoon on Candlewood Lane. You'll see kids playing, hear a gunshot, then Kobe realizes he's hit.
Have y'all ever seen a story where an Asian man shoots a white man? Have y'all ever
Never
seen
heard of it.
where an Asian man shoots a white child?
Oh, hold on. In the Korean War, maybe. Pearl Harbor, maybe.
Because these people hate us, man. I've never seen a story where a Hindu man shot and killed a white man, a white child. I have never seen a story like that. Never. To keep it real, you got to be very dangerous and move with love. Other words, protect yourself. Yeah, you got to stay dangerous. And, you got to love your neighbor. And love is the commandments. So he said, if you love me, keep my commandments. So when you love your neighbor, you're dealing with them according to the commandments. And the commandment says that you shall not murder your brother, and you have a right to defend yourself, an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth. There's only one case where he says turn the other cheek, and that's if they slap you if they hit you on the cheek. Hitting you on the cheek is something that you can heal from. If someone slap you, that's not a permanent injury. But if someone takes your eye, like it says eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, those are permanent injuries. So when someone's trying to maim you or seriously injure or hurt you, you have the right to protect yourself and defend yourself. And that's what Christianity's done, is deceived and lied our people to make them think they can't defend themselves against the heathen or when they're facing a serious impending threat. But if someone slaps you on the cheek, you can turn the other cheek. But we only have 2 cheeks to turn. So you can maybe take 2 of those before you defend yourself and fight back. Again, a hit on the cheek is not going to knock that. A slap is not going to. It's not going to permanently injure you. So when something or someone is trying to seriously injure you, defend yourself. So that's
Absolutely.
the problem.
And this was a defenseless little kid. And I don't know if you remember or not, but with that case, the Asian guy ended up pleading taking a plea deal where he only got 40 months. So, that's less than 5 years in jail for shooting at a 6-year-old kid and also attempting to hit him with a sledgehammer. He got probation for more time, but his actual time that he was to serve in jail was like 3 years or something like that. And so
WT, they're right. Didn't the Asian guy do a mass shooting at Virginia Tech University? Yeah, that was 2005. Since 2005, that's 21 years ago. I hadn't heard no story like that.
Okay, hold up. Then there was another guy too. This would have been about 10 years ago. That was the guy who shot some kids at Boston College because he couldn't get a date.
Really?
Yeah. My bad. So I guess some Asian people have shot some white people.
Yeah. But
that brought back to my memory.
And they probably lost right. So it's rare.
Yeah, it's rare.
But
you got sane white people doing this.
Yeah, these are sane. That's what I'm saying. So this guy is sane and he's trying to kill a child.
Yeah. 40 months, something like that he got, if I remember. It's crazy.
Through his front window, the bullet went in Kobe's arm and out the other side. Got a little boy.
So you see, sometimes you can't even just let your children play outside and assume that they're going to be safe on your own block in front of your own house. Sometimes we got to be hyper vigilant in these days and times because we're living in a time like that's getting close, to the end. I'm going to play a few more videos and then I'm going to open up the floor for people who might want to chime in. Excuse me. Let's see this.
White defendants. All white juries convict black defendants at a higher rate than they convict white defendants. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. And tonight, my heart is aching for Karmelo Anthony and for his family because there was nothing fair about the trial that he had. When we found out that the jury was all white, I knew at that point that his defense was in trouble. It was difficult for me to look at the coverage of the Karmelo Anthony case because once I knew an all-white jury panel was seated, the outcome felt like it was inevitable. I have to remind my Black son once again that the consequences for him are different than for other people. He can't do what other people do.
Can you pause that?
And lawfully carry a gun and expect.
That's where I come in at. Because because we know this, we got to advise.
What did she say? What did she say?
She had to tell her son that the rules basically for him, the consequences for him are going to be different from everyone else. And this is why I say a Karmelo Anthony, right, is wrong. This is what I was wrong about that situation. Another big mistake that was made was by his family, by the people that they surrounded themselves with after the incident, right? They had this activist guy who was just terrible PR. For example, when the Metcalf kid's father.
Let me give a little pushback. You think if somebody was talking like Martin Luther King over there, that would have changed the outcome of the verdict?
No, not at all. Not at all. What I mean is, so here's the thing. By the law of this country, right, what he did was manslaughter. So he is supposed to serve some time, right? Somebody died. So regardless of race, somebody died. This wasn't intentional. This wasn't murder. And I don't think for a second that it was in his intention that the kid would die, because at 17 years old, you know that if a white boy dies at your hand, you know you're screwed legally, right? So now that said, now that is done, you got to be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove, right?
Yeah,
so that means your PR has got to be correct. When the Metcalf father, the kid's father, came to the press conference that they were holding, right? He said, I forgive you, asked to pray with them. They took the advice of the I can't remember this guy's name, but he was like some kind of preacher, minister, or whatever, to tell the father to leave because this is their time in their press conference, etc. Instead of understanding that, let's say it was a PR stunt on his father's behalf to say, I forgive you, can we pray together? Well, that's a PR stunt for you too, because your son is the one that's going to be on trial here, right? And you want as many good faith or good looking things to come about because you know what it's about. They kicked Metcalf's father out of the press conference instead of taking that time to have the image of them praying together. The same way when black people family get killed.
I see what you're saying there. That's a
Yeah,
point.
you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart. You can't. You know what it is. What do black people always? They're notorious, especially foreign black people, right? That when they're in these situations, the first thing they do is they get a microphone and put it in the family's face, and the family always says, "I forgive him," and this, that, and the other.
Right.
What ends up happening? The person ends up getting a lighter sentence. You know he's gonna be sentenced to something. He's a black kid. He killed a white kid. Like, why are you doing self-inflicted wounds? So that's where I agree with what she's saying. The rules are different for us. So you got to know this.
That's facts. That's facts. I just got brother Yosef. Uziel Yosef just sent us something. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. Okay, here we go. And I put a link in the chat, family. If anybody wants to hop in and chime in, I'm gonna put the link in again. Anybody want to come in? You don't have to get on camera if you don't want to. You can come in and give us your feedback. Tell us your opinion. What do you think about this trial? Do you think it is a clear discrimination in the courtrooms? Should the family of Karmelo Anthony should have responded different to the law, to the case, and to the verdict? Let's hear your thoughts. Y'all can come in, hop in, and tell us what you think. I'm going to play this in the meantime, family.
It's a legal lynching that happened. As a former prosecutor, y'all talk. This is a legal lynching that happened in here today. We can't hear you. I said, as a former prosecutor, this was a legal lynching that happened in this slaughterhouse. This is a slaughterhouse. This is not a courthouse. We had no chance. This courthouse is designed when you will come here, you look like us, to slaughter you. That judge intentionally steals us from being able to have a legal right to see what the fuck was going on in this case for a motherfucking reason. Because he knows we.
Forgive the profanity, family, but she's right in what she's saying. The judge sealed so that nobody can come in and see the proceedings. No cameras, no video, none of that. Okay,
Gag order and everything. Gave a gag order that neither side.
Right. We got somebody hopping on. Shalom, you're on live. Is that Ronica? Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Yes, Shalom. How you feeling?
Yes, this is Veronica.
All right. Tell us what you think about this case and the history of the courts and black people in America.
Yes, I live in Houston.
How long? Are you from Houston?
Yes, I live in Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I am I'm from Houston, been born and raised. I'm 61 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe I need to mute this.
You muted. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. You coming in fine.
Okay. I live in Houston, Texas. Oh Lord, I thought I unmuted it.
Well, do you have it playing on in the separate window? Do you have YouTube on somewhere as you're on the phone with us now? If you have another screen with YouTube open, you might have to close that while you're on the broadcast with us.
No,
But
I don't have no.
okay, well, we hear you clearly. We can hear you fine.
Okay, let me check.
Okay, we hear you. Hey fam, can y'all let us know if y'all can hear us, if you can hear the sister, put a 7 in the chat if you hear her. You can go ahead, sis. We hear you. Veronica, go ahead. Veronica,
Okay, I
continue.
live in Houston, Texas,
Uh-huh.
and I have been following this trial for. I have been following it. Can you? Okay, I have been since it started.
You said you've been following the case. Go ahead.
Now, Kamala Anthony was in area where back in the 80s, I used to live in that area back in the day.
Tell us about it. What's the name of the area again? Tell me the name of the area.
Colin.
Okay.
That was back in the 80s.
Okay.
That was back in the 80s. Collin County. That's in the Dallas area, Tyler County. And back then, it was racist back then, and it still is. They're having issues in the same county right now. They're taking black babies from their mamas. Follow Dr. Candace Matthews' platform with Willie D. She done brought up all kinds of stuff on the DA, the judge. They all criminals. So when I moved there back in the 80s, they had a problem with us moving there. I couldn't move in certain areas. I had to live in Oak Cliff.
Oak Cliff?
Oak Cliff.
Uh-huh.
So, which was okay. It was a nice area, but for black people. But after that,
in the 80s when you lived there, did you work there? Were you in school
I
there?
lived yes, I worked in Dallas.
So tell us about like some of the maybe discriminatory things that you experienced or that you witnessed so we can kind of get an idea of what it's like.
I left Houston. Well, I can tell you this. I tried to get an apartment in Plano area, right up in that area where Tyler is, Colin. It's all connected. And they wouldn't allow us to live in those apartments, no matter how my credit was or how much money I made. So they told me we was not welcome.
And same thing today. Has anything changed?
Well, I left, so I don't know. I know that they still having problems in that same Colin house. Today, no, not really, because it's getting worse. It's getting worse because everybody on the judicial system are related. Your judges are related. Your district attorneys are related. The wardens are related. They are all related.
Wow. So the judges are related to the prosecutors. The prosecutors are related to the police officers. The police officers are related to the deputies, and they probably marry all of the school teachers in the school system. So it sounds like you got a perfect system that is going to perpetuate that type of environment of oppression.
And this is why they all got an all-white jury, because if it's such a mixed county, where my black people at? Well, we have black people living there because they want to be inclusive and thinking that they're gonna get a better education with uh
Go ahead, sister. There's a delay. I think you got a delay, but go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us.
that's why I figured that's why I think that this is why they didn't have no black jurors of his peers. They didn't have no peers. They didn't have no peers they didn't have no peers on the jury. And I don't understand that part. This same courthouse is taking our babies. That's why I told y'all to follow Dr. Candace Matthews. She done pulled all the dirt on the people who was at this courthouse. The judge, the DA.
Man. Yeah, we're gonna look her up and then see what she has to say too. I appreciate you coming on to share your perspective, sister. It's really nice to hear someone who had boots on the ground there. You know, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, sis, take care. Shalom.
Bye. Yeah,
Hey.
so there were all three jurors that were black, females that were dismissed in the last round of I forgot what they call it, but Vardwit, what is it? Vardwar or Vardir? Anyway, it was three females. They were teachers that said that they couldn't judge the case based on their biases, which black people again need to be smarter. You don't need to be saying that. You're going to be there to hear the case and hear the facts on the case. There was a gag order from the gate, so there's a lot of information. Let me just say it, a lot of information that isn't misinformation, because there was a lot of noise around that whole thing that a lot of people was giving bad information and stuff like that. Keep your mouth shut so you can hear the case and then be a voice for Karmelo Anthony in this particular case. But instead, you have an opportunity for three black women to be on the jury, and they chose to not be on there, saying that they had biases.
Right. I'm a hit play. Yeah, we got to be wise.
As a former prosecutor, this is a legal lynching that happened in here today. We can't hear you. I said, as a former prosecutor, this was a legal lynching that happened in this slaughterhouse. This is a slaughterhouse. This is not a courthouse. We had no training. This courthouse is designed when you would come here and you look like us to slaughter you. That judge intentionally steals us from being able to have a legal right to see what the fuck was going on in this case for a motherfucking reason. Because he knows we have access, we don't play about our people. So he silenced us. He closed the fucking case so we can't see what the fuck is going on. So also the reason he shut down black media from coming, he only had these white motherfuckers up in that courthouse so that they can tell the wrong fucking story about Karmelo Anthony. And they can tell the white story about domestic terror, because that's what they were. Those twins are domestic racist terrorists. Make no motherfucking mistake. That judge, fuck him. That prosecutor, fuck him. There was no, as a former prosecutor, they did not meet their motherfucking word. They did not prove intent. They did not prove it knowingly. But they had the white motherfuckers on that jury for a reason. When they pick their jury like that, that's because they know that people are not smart as us. We can read through the bullshit. They follow their bullshit and believe what they say. So when we are out here discrediting ourselves, it's giving them an advantage. They know how to divide us, and that's through the court system. And they silence us from the court system. They silence us won't. Are you gonna get the fuck out? We gotta show up for jury service. We gotta show up and participate. Stop trying to get the fuck out of the jury because that's how they particular jury. They took 3 black women off of here because they were teachers. That's a violation. And they know it. That judge was in there feeding the state objections because they were too dumb to know what the fuck to object to. I ain't never seen no judge do no shit like that. He got too much fucking experience, over 40 years as a fucking prosecutor, and you don't know how to fucking object, and you got this judge up there helping you? Oh, such a thing, eh? This is his life. I'm gonna retire too. Bitch got that money. This was his life. He needs this. Hold on, okay. We just came from South Carolina. They tried to put him down, and he protected himself so he could get home safe, and they convicted him. And one white girl had the motherfucking audacity to sit in there and cry. Bitch, don't fucking cry. It's too late for your tears. Your tears was needed when you was back there with this 30 fucking minutes of his life. It's the reason they did not call him to testify. He was problematic. He has been terrorizing that school, terrorizing students from other schools, and if they put him on that stand, it was going to come out. And the teacher. Those kids got up there and lied. Relationship. And the prosecutors led, and they have an ethical duty to make sure witnesses testify truthfully, and they did, because it was a win for them.
Man, I'm getting feedback. Y'all can't hear the video? Fam, can you, if y'all can't
Yeah,
hear
I
the
was trying to hear it. It was
video,
going in and out.
it's
The
going in
sound was
and out.
going in and out.
Oh man,
So I
I
couldn't really hear
apologize for that.
what Eve was saying.
I got a comment from Sister Naasaya. There is a warden of the prison where they were going to send Karmelo. His last name is Metcalf, and he's related to the deceased boy, so they may have moved him to a different prison. That's just what the sister who was on before said. They all related. So yeah, that goes
Yeah,
because I see several
he's a
people.
deputy warden.
Yeah,
He's
see.
a deputy warden there.
So then, yeah, they had to fix in, obviously, from the very beginning. So if their own family run the jails, that's how they were able to do what they did with an all-white jury and then throw 35 years at him and then keep all of the cameras out of the courtroom. Because
Yeah, that
this
was
is...
the real injustice when you got the whole fact that you can't not charge him with anything. That's never going to happen. But the real painful part is the fact that this is a case that has made nationwide headlines, has all sorts of racial implications, and then you put a gag order, an all-white jury, a trial that takes 3 business days, and then he gets 35 years having never had any type of criminal record or anything like that. That's where you really get the racism and all that other stuff. Yeah, the heavy hand of it all, and even the charge and murder. But here's the thing: when I was saying about being smart, right? So when this happened, I'll just ask you the question: did you have any doubt that it was going to turn out something like this when you heard about the case? You had no doubt, right? So I mean, I just got to imagine. Right, I'm a father. You're a father. I got sons, same age as this kid. I am not putting my son through a trial when it's a fact. There was not a dispute on whether or not he actually was the one who stabbed the kid. This is a case where you need to be making sure that you put your son in the best position possible under the circumstance. You're not going to beat a case like this. because you said this is what you did, right? So there's a responsibility as a parent to, and whoever was advising them, like, hey, listen, you guys need to be seeing what kind of plea bargain you can get in a case like this, because this isn't a who done it. We know who did it and exactly what happened.
That, I mean, some people can argue that, but if he committed manslaughter, why should he plead for murder?
No, not plea for murder. When you do a plea bargain, it's lesser charges. Is
Right.
what
So
you're
if
going after.
they might have let him plead, then yeah, I can understand that. But it just seems like the fix was in for him either way, because from what they're
Well,
saying,
you going to jail. You going to jail. Yeah,
they're
bro,
saying
you
that
going to jail.
his attorney is friends with the prosecutor, and that the attorney
That's
and the
common.
prosecutor used to work together, so they were pretty cool with each other. So it sounds like it was the okey doke. But I want to say that for those young people who are in school, whether you're in middle school or high school, and you're in a school that is mixed, you really, and even if it's not mixed, you have to beware who you call your friends, because the world is changing so rapidly, and people are being set up in school by people that they trusted. So, and then sometimes it's people you know, and then sometimes it's people you don't know. But I'm seeing a lot of cases where people are being set up by people they in fact do know. I'm going to play this video.
If there is one lesson I hope young people take away from the Karmelo Anthony case, it's this: watch who you call your friends. You know that thing, show me your friends and I'll show you your future? Yeah, that one. I'm sure your mammy, your pappy, your daddy, your mama, you've heard it multiple times. And it's a quote that's been around a long time for very good reason. Now, according to testimony, Karmelo was called over to that tent by someone he thought was his friend. The defense attorney even showed multiple photos of them together. But when everything was said and done, that same person ended up taking the stand and testifying against him, his friend. The part that really stood out to me was that Karmelo's friend allegedly recorded the entire incident, then later backpedaled and claimed he was only pretending to record. How convenient. And then when he asked why he was showing people his phone, he said he was only showing them Karmelo's Instagram page.
Wow,
I'm sorry, but let's be so for real. This is somebody you've been hanging around with, right? Somebody who called you over to sit with him and allegedly started laughing while you were being bullied. This is also somebody who allegedly pulled out a phone while you were being harassed instead of stepping in.
We have to beware who we call our friends. And this is a message that I had to teach young people in my own family who were too eager to go in spaces with some of their white co-workers that they didn't even know, and take drives when they would be invited to go to this place or that place where they'd never even been to. I just seen a video last week where it was about 4 white teens who invited a black teen out on a fishing trip, knowing that the black child couldn't swim. And then they left him on a plank in the middle of the water and drove the boat away from him. And they were laughing as they were driving away. The white teens left the black teen there to die. It's just by the grace of the Most High that somebody was coming in the opposite direction that happened to see that, and they rescued that black child, that black boy. He called these other teens his friends, and they were setting him up for the fall. We have to beware of these things.
On the stand and testifying against him, his friend. Now, the part that really stood out to me was that Karmelo's friend allegedly recorded the entire incident, then later backpedaled and claimed he was only pretending to record. How convenient. And then when he asked why he was showing people his phone, he said he was only showing them Karmelo's Instagram page. I'm sorry, but let's be so for real. This is somebody you've been hanging around with, right? Somebody who called you over to sit with him and allegedly started laughing while you were being bullied. This is also somebody who allegedly pulled a phone while you were being harassed instead of stepping in. Then when the situation escalates and becomes a matter of literal life and death, the footage is all of a sudden magically gone, and now they're sitting on the witness stand with your life in their hand. Whether you think Karmelo was right or wrong is not the point. The point is that too many people confuse access with loyalty. Just because someone hangs around you doesn't mean they're your friend, bro. Just because someone calls you bro, sis, fam, cuz, or bestie does not mean they're your true friend. Character reveals itself when things get real, and it's important to pay attention to how people operate under pressure, because only then will you see their true colors. I guarantee you. Pay attention to the things that might seem small but hold a lot of weight, like who laughs when you're being humiliated and who records instead of stepping in to help. Pay attention to who folds the moment they get tested. Okay, I guarantee you the signs were there already, and Karmelo may have just shrugged the red flags off, thinking it ain't no big deal. But who you choose to surround yourself with is a huge, huge deal. Pay attention to what those around you say, do, and even joke about, because if you pay close attention, you'll start to pick up behavioral patterns and then ask yourself, is this really someone I want to be around, let alone call a friend? Because sometimes the people closest to you can have the biggest impact on how your life turns out. And sometimes your life literally depends on it.
Yeah, that's real talk. We have a lot of Black teens who are set up by some of their friends or their co-workers or their peers, and they go out to locations not knowing the people that they're with, and they become naive. And we can't be naive in a time like this. We have to be able to vet and trust the people that we allow around us, allow around our families, and so forth and so on. Yeah, did y'all want anybody wanted to add on that? I'll put the link in here one more time for anybody else who might want to hop on in. All right. Yeah, and anything else you wanted to add on that?
Yeah, I usually try to stay away from the. I mean, these are the conversations as parents that we got to have, and we got to drill them in. I know with my kids, especially when they were younger, I used to go over scenarios that were like this and others, and break them down, and then ask them questions on what they think about how this person could have dealt with this situation differently, including this situation too. Um, and that's the only defense that you have against this sort of thing, because once they start getting into school, playing sports, etc., they're going to be exposed to people, and expecting that they're going to have the wisdom of a 40-year-old, a 30-something-year-old, or a 50-year-old is a little unrealistic. It's Monday morning quarterbacking to some extent. You have to train them. And it's like when you're at work, when they have role play, you got to even do role play with your kids to try to prepare them.
Right. Family, I found the clip I was looking for. I want y'all to pay attention to this. Where did it go? Man, I just I know how to do it. I'm gonna have to send it a different way. I found the clip I was looking for. I want y'all to see this. Give me one quick second. I'm gonna pull up a clip that's gonna show how some of these kids get lined up. All right, here we go. I'm sorry, fam. Where's that setting we had? Okay, where's the volume at? I'm not getting any sound, family. This thing here, I'm gonna what is going on? Instagram. Okay.
They were prepared to execute him. For those of you guys who are not aware and haven't seen this video, if it wasn't for this family here, a black boy would have been killed. This family just so happened to be out paddleboarding when they heard a boy screaming.
Sorry, family. Check this out. Man, where's the sound? Okay.
In this video, if it wasn't for this family here, a black boy would have been killed. This family just so happened to be out paddleboarding when they heard a boy screaming, saying he couldn't swim. He was being taunted, monkey noises, and they were able to get him out of the situation. He was set up by so-called friends.
I'm going to screenshot that because every time I try to zoom in, you can't really see it. So I'm going to have to. I'm going to show you guys what's going on right here. This is crazy. All right. Check this out. Can you see this young black boy in the water? He can't swim. He was left there abandoned by his white friends in the middle of nowhere in the water, where I'm sure there's gators and reptiles and probably serpents and snakes in that water. He can't swim, and as his white friends are leaving him, they're mocking him and telling him to just get in the water. So now I'm going to play the video so now you can see those boys purposely brought him out there to hurt him. Not to hurt him, but to kill him. They're mocking him, saying your dad's in prison, and we can tell by looking at you that your dad's in prison. They're telling him this as he's in the water and they're in the boat leaving him. Did y'all see that? He said, I'm going to die. And they're trying to convince him to get in the water and swim because he has a life jacket on, but he knows there's things out there in the water that will kill him. Plus, he can't swim while they're in the boat. And the closer he swims to them, if he could, they would probably just paddle that much further away from him to make sure that he drowns. I don't see these white people doing this to Asians. I don't see these white people doing this to Hindus. I don't see these white people doing this to Hispanics like this. I don't see them doing this to Arabs. I don't see them doing this to nobody but us like this. This is the perpetual hatred that the scripture said they would have.
What's your name?
If we have not found Marquise, we need to find him, and we need to talk to his mom immediately. Let me know what y'all thought about this video. Make no mistake.
Ain't that wild, family? Could y'all hear that? Did the audio come clear on that one?
I heard it.
Yeah. That's what they're doing these days. Okay. Plus, a white man tried to abduct a black woman, I believe, in South Carolina. I seen that video. It was a young black girl who just graduated high school, and the day she graduated, a white man drove beside her and pretended and impersonated to a police officer and
I saw that story. And another guy coming the other way. Saw she was still in cuffs. She was He had her in cuffs, and she was running from the guy's car to the pickup. I think it was a pickup truck driver, a flatbed truck, something like that driver that came on that scene and got her up out of that situation. And the guy circled back around and tried to pretend to him that he was a police officer, but he didn't. He was like, "Where's your badge at?" And he flashed something that wasn't even a badge. But the guy, he was on to it. Thank God, because I mean, the amount of people that go missing, you never hear. They die screaming and crying out, and you never hear from them because nobody was there to intervene.
Right. And white males have the highest rate of raping people,
Murder,
murder.
every crime there is, they outnumber us. They outdo us and all of that. They try to play that whole you're only 13% of the population, but 50% of the crimes. And what they don't tell you is that, first off, it's a lie. We're 50% of the arrest, not the criminals. They go into arrest and then say that means that black people are committing the crimes. We're number one in exonerations.
Give me one quick second. I want to say thank you and shout out to Future Hoops 830. Shalom Elders Toda for what you do. You are appreciated. We appreciate you and thank you for supporting the platform. That means a lot, sis. God bless you. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, they skew the numbers and they give a lot of misinformation. The truth is, the raw numbers are all that matters. For example, if you have 100 people and 67 of them are murderers, and those 67 are white, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. If 15 of them are black, and black people only count for 10% of the population, it doesn't matter that we committed 15 murders. The bottom line is they committed 67.
Right.
So what they try to do is say that we are overrepresented, and that's just not. It's a lie.
Right. It's hyper policeism in our neighborhoods to hyper convict us. They don't have the same amount of police in their neighborhoods looking for every little crime or oppressing them. So there's a hyper policing that they do that they look for in our neighborhoods. And there's been some stories of black officers when they joined the force. Some of them would go in white neighborhoods specifically and look for crime, and their superiors would tell them, "You're doing too much." So, yeah, I'm going to play this video one last time because I want to make sure people get the context. This is, again, the young black boy who went out on a boat trip with his so-called friends, and they tried to leave him there in the water, knowing that he can't swim, hoping to kill him. But the Most High sent somebody to see him out there and rescue them.
Prepared to execute him. For those of you guys who are not aware and haven't seen this video, if it wasn't for this family here, a black boy would have been killed. This family just so happened to be out paddleboarding when they heard a boy screaming, saying he couldn't swim. He was being taunted, monkey noises, and they were able to get him out of the situation. He was set up by so-called friends.
And then he's telling them that his dad is in prison. Black people, you got to stop telling all your information and all your business to people that don't love you. Why does his parents even need to know that his father's in jail to begin with? That's the lack of discernment that we talk about when people spread their personal business to strangers and enemies of theirs. That's not discernment. That's not discretion. The book of Proverbs always talks to us about being discreet and watching the tongue. This young man should have never told them that his father is in prison. That's none of their business.
If we have not found Marquise, we need to find him, and we need to talk to his mom immediately. Let me know what y'all thought about this video. Make no mistake.
So, family, these people are not our friends. We do need to use discernment and discretion about how we conduct ourselves when we know the enemy is looking at us, when we know the enemy is hunting us or tracing our steps. But the Most High have something for these people, as we read there in the book of Ezekiel. I'm going to read it one last time. Because thou hast, Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Adonai Elohim, Yehovah, I will prepare thee unto blood. So this blood prophesied against Babylon the Great for its mistreatment of Yah's chosen people. I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. And this is why the United States military is getting their behind kicked, and their stations and bases are getting blown up. And now they have to ask permission from Iran for fuel. And now Trump had to again stand down when he said that he was going to go to war a second time against Iran. Iran is humiliating the United States of America. They're losing their grip on power because it's a direct proportion to how they continue to mistreat Yah's chosen people. Therefore, as I live, saith Adonai Elohim, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am Yehovah. Hallelujah. So when he brings judgment against this place, it's not going to return. So Yah says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins. So in these last days, we need to keep the law, statutes, and commandments and return to the Most High. As we watch, we're going to see judgment against America and against this administration. And they can convict a young man for defending himself while he's jumped by 3 white men who are 100 plus pounds larger than him, but there hasn't been a single arrest for the Epstein files. All of these godless, reprobate criminals going around hurting children, and they are free, walking around enjoying the Knicks game. You see so many of these small hats at the game celebrating, and they're in the Epstein files, and there's no arrest for them. But there's arrest for our young men for defending themselves and standing their ground. So we're going to ask the Most High to bring judgment against the adversaries of our people, and that our people would repent and turn back to him to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Man, this has been a blessing having you on the broadcast. Tell the people your platform.
All right, so it's in construction, right? Being built now. I'm in my dungeon that I'm be changing around slowly but surely. But as you can see, it's hashtag gap tooth truth. Why? Because I got a gap tooth, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to keep it real with you and be 100. But thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to learning how to do this this podcast thing from you. I appreciate it.
It's all good. And Most High willing, we'll be able to link up again real soon and talk about more relevant topics for the people. And also, you very much into sports and things like that. So you're going to be doing a podcast for covering a lot of those topics too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I expect that once I get this thing up and running, that I'll have segments broken up so that I can engage with people, so that they can you know so that they can see, they can be a part of my journey as I dig into these topics and these things that are going on.
All right. All praises to the Most High. Family, thank you for joining us on this broadcast. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Shalom.
Shalom.
This Restored Hebrew KJV contains Old and New Testaments in black and white with original names and divine revelations. The His Word Silver Edition, 96 books in black and white, ancient Hebrew truths revealed, commemorating 400 years. The His Word Gold Edition, best-selling Hebrew Bible, 96 books, vivid photos, commemorating 400 years. The His Word Paleo Hebrew Edition has the ancient names in Paleo script, vivid photos, and the Hebrew Paleo alphabet charts. Don't delay. Add to your collection today. HebrewIsraeliteScriptures.com.
We just pray on behalf of our people, Yisrael, O Most High, that you would cause us to stand in these last days. Give us strength, O Yehovah. Pour the Ruach HaKodesh upon us, O Yah. Pour out the latter rain, O Most High. Show mercy unto us. Deliver us, O Yehovah. Open the gates of heaven unto our prayer. Yehovah, receive our prayer. O Yah, receive our prayer.